This is David Siegel with a short video out of very many videos from my Climate Science Masterclass. I want to test the CO2 hypothesis to see if CO2 has any real effect on temperature. Recall from a previous lecture that the greenhouse effect really does prevent nighttime temperatures from being extremely cold, effectively an ice ball Earth. But if you remember, the first 50 parts per million do almost all the work. That's shown here in the pink line. The next 200 parts per million just add a bit more, and any more CO2 from there is just not driving temperatures. Since most of the greenhouse effect is from water vapor, I want to eliminate that and just find the CO2 signal. Where can we find the driest place on Earth? The East Antarctic Plateau is the world's driest desert. So if CO2 is having an effect, it should stand out here. First, we should check if CO2 really is a well-mixed gas, and the closest CO2 measurement station to Antarctica is at Cape Grim in Tasmania. Yes, it looks like we see the same thing here as everywhere else, so we can assume it has increased about 40% since 1950 in Antarctica as well. The station I have in mind is the Vostok station, the world's coldest weather station. Vostok is here at an elevation of 3,400 meters or 11,000 feet. And we have temperature data going back to 1958. So, what does it show? Here's the annual trend from 1958 to 2012. Temperature has gone up less than 1 degree Celsius in 70 years, pretty much linearly. We should see a hockey stick here, but we don't. If we look at the summer in Vostok, when there's no temperature inversion, we see the same basic thing. In winter, when there are temperature inversions, we see more volatility, but no real difference. It's mostly noise. We're just seeing the inversions here. Look how cold many of the winters are. If the 20% increase in CO2 were having any effect, we'd see it here in this data, but we don't. Now here's raw data from the station in Death Valley, officially the driest place in the United States. Any greenhouse warming here would be driven by CO2. There'd be very little signal from water vapor. These are the high temperatures since 1960, and they show the same mild trend upward of about 2 degrees Fahrenheit in 70 years. All this is consistent with data from this remote station in Western Iceland since 1800, about 0.8 degrees Celsius per century for the last 200 years. Again, if CO2 were driving temperature, this graph would be flat on the left and then shoot up on the right. It does shoot up, but the temperature has gone up and down at other times, in fact, all times as well. CO2 can't be driving this. There's no correlation and no causation between CO2 and temperatures. This is one learning unit out of about 18 hours of material from my Climate Science Masterclass. Learn more at climatecurious.com.